the blessed Sabbath that we're supposed to keep throughout all our generations and teach our children about, Father. We love him. We thank him for giving us these things. So I'm going to sit here for a minute before we get started and let some people join in so they can start afresh. We're going to be in Revelation 7. It's a good chapter. There's a lot in here to take in, but we're going to break some of it down. We're not going to break it completely down. I've been told in earlier this week that I need to dumb this down even more than I have, and and I don't mean that to be. That's not my words. That's the words that was given to me. I need to dumb it down even further so they can understand it. They're they want to be able to pick it up and understand. And my response to that was, well, I'm giving out the chapter and verse throughout the Word where you can go and study it and see for yourself. But I mean, I know some people won't do that. Some people won't take the time to want to do it. But I mean, I know people want to do it, but I'm not saying that they're not gonna, but they need to. You need to get into it yourself. And I, my friends here, my family right here, they get into the Word and they break it down. They look at it. They give scriptures. They know where to they want to show themselves approved, just like I do. And in turn, they do their work during the week and they research it and find scripture that's in the Old Testament that brings the New Testament to that light even brighter, because the New Testament didn't exist when Messiah was walking and doing his ministry here. When Yahushua was here, he's the Word. He was quoting the Father himself directly. He was the Word wrapped with blood, with skin and flesh, and he taught the commandments. It's good morning, Heather. Good morning, Jane. We love you. But he taught the Word to his disciples and to his people. He was searching. He says it clearly that he's searching for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And if I can break this down, it's repetitious, but you know what? Repetition is how people learn sometimes. And so I'm going to say this one more time. Israel was split into two different kingdoms because of transgression. And the transgression, you'll have to go back and study. I'll tell you where to go, but I'm not going to tell you the chapter. I want you to do it. Go to Kings. First Kings, there's a chapter in First Kings, and there's a chapter in Second Kings. There's a chapter in Isaiah. There's a chapter in Jeremiah. You can find them in these places. I want you guys to study this. And remember, I always say to put on your critical thinking cap. So if I say that, then I don't guess I'm dumbing it down enough for people. And I hate that term, for lack of a better word, because like I said, that's not my words. It was a friend of mine that watches, and I guess they really want to learn. So you got to know that Israel was split, and why it was split. They were split for bringing the Asherim pole in. They were told not to do it. The 10 tribes there's 12 tribes, and 2 kingdoms became out of those 12 tribes. The northern kingdom was Israel. It consisted of 10 tribes. Then there was the southern kingdom of Judah. It had 2 tribes. And so when Messiah was here, Judah still existed. The reason he did not destroy Judah, he tells you in 1st and 2nd Kings, you can find it there, because David was a man after Yahuwah's own heart. That's why he spared Judah. But they were still wicked, and they were still punished. So instead of being scattered to the 4 corners of the earth, he sent them into captivity. Now, fast forward 3,000 years later, Israel is not what the world calls it. That is Judah. And they dwell in the United States too. Israel and Ephraim dwell together in Babylon. That's here. That's a prophecy. It didn't happen in Isaiah's day. It's happening now. It's here now. So and Messiah, now we go back to the house of Israel. Messiah tells the lady that wants her daughter healed and Messiah says, I'm not here for the dogs. She says, yes, but the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table. He said, you said well. Now go your way, your daughter lives. He told her that I'm here for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Remember, 2 kingdoms split. The northern 10 tribes have been scattered to the 4 corners of the world, and they're not back yet. The church tells you that the sun God day worship church, the wicked church, they tell you that it's a new covenant. That's not true.
It's a renewed covenant.
It's a renewed covenant. See there, Taylor, that's right. It's a renewed covenant. The covenant.
Refreshing.
What's that?
A refreshing.
Yeah. The new covenant will not happen until he comes back. Yeah. That's in Jeremiah 30 and 31. Yeah. You guys can find it there. The new covenant does not exist right now. It's going to happen when both houses are back together. Remember, Israel does not exist. The house of Israel is scattered. It exists, but they don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. But they're gonna when he comes back. He's gonna put both houses back together. That's all here in the Word, guys. But that's as low as I can get it to understand, and to make it make sense. You just go read and remember. The Bible is full of idioms. It's full of, and if you don't know what idiom means, look that word up too. It's telling the same story with different words, pretty much. That's basically what it is. It's got idioms, parables, allegories. It's got these things. So that's why I say put on your thinking cap. What's he talking about? Well, once you get going in the Word and you're in covenant with him and you're keeping his Sabbath and you're not putting any other thing before him, and you have no graven images in your home or anywhere, i.e. a Christmas tree, a cross, fish, anything, he says make no likeness. When he says don't do something, oh, well, we can do this. He don't mean that. No, that's exactly what he means. Don't do it. That's why they're scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. Mm-hmm. That's why Judah went into captivity, because they didn't listen. They're called a stiff-necked people. But we're over here in Revelation chapter 7. We're going to get started there. But you guys have a foundation right now. You know what to be looking for and searching for. And I'm going to tell you what. It hurts my soul. It'll hurt my soul. I'm afraid. And I say this. How many times you guys heard me say I am afraid to tell somebody something that's not in the Word? Because I know what he'll do. But he's raising up his people in the last days to preach what I'm preaching to you. It's not rocket science. This is so simple that a 3rd grader should understand the Word, because he's not the author of confusion. And when I say that, I'm not trying to belittle anybody that's listening. I want you to really understand what I'm trying to say. He's not the author of confusion. Once you have the basic knowledge what we're telling you, you can go from there. Look, when I first listened to somebody telling me and showing me through, I didn't believe them. I didn't listen. Nobody at this table did. They thought man, you're crazy. I told them this. But once, remember, you can only be drawn by the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Ghost. If he don't draw you, you're not going to see it. You're not going to understand it. But that's why I'm telling you, pray earnestly to the Father, Yahuwah, in the mighty name of Yahusha, and you'll start keeping all 10 of his commandments. Not 2 of them, not 4, not 1, not 8, not 9, but all 10. And remember, in Matthew, he even magnified the commandments. He told you, they asked him, Rabbi, what is the greatest of all commandments? And he said something real simple to him. He said, the first one is to love thy God with all thy mind, thy heart, and thy soul. And the second one is likened to the first one, to love your neighbor as yourself. Now, where did that come from? That's over there in Leviticus.
The Old
That's the Old Testament. But how did he know that? Because he's the Word. It's written, it's in his DNA. It's him. He is the Word. He's the light. His light shines. We're going to read this stuff in Revelation, but that's a basic knowledge of why we're here. We can't celebrate Christmas. We can't do that's for Tammuz. That Christmas tree tells you not to put one in your home. Don't decorate it with silver. I didn't write these words. It's in the Word. You're not to put a grove of trees near his sanctuary. You're not to do these things. You're not to eat a ham. You're to eat clean. If you like shrimp tacos or scallops, you got to give it up for him. If you like eating pork, you got to give it up. You can't eat bear. You can't eat rabbit. He tells you in Leviticus what's clean. But yet, the wicked church tells you that the Old Testament's done away with. And it's not.
You gotta be able to put your pride down too.
Yes.
To know when you was
Yes.
wrong and be able to.
That's
learn
right.
something else.
Pride is man. What's pride? Robert?
It's the original sin.
It's what happens before
Falling.
the fall. The pride, your fall. You'll fall. That's why Satan's where he's at. Lucifer, he fell because
He was
of pride,
shot out.
like a bolt of lightning. But without further ado, let's get into Revelations and get this rolling. Now, I want to give some people some verses to read. I want Dallas. I want you to find Exodus chapter 28, verses 20 through 22. Exodus 28.
28.
Patty, will you please get Ezekiel chapter 9, verses 2 and verse 4. Taylor, would you please get Isaiah 49, verse 10. And Robin, I want you to get Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 8. Oh, hold on, give that one to Taylor. Deuteronomy 6 and 8. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to break this up. And then I'm gonna give Robin Deuteronomy 6 or 7 and verse 6 and Isaiah 25, 8.
All right, you said Exodus 28.
Yeah, Exodus 28 verses 20 through 22.
Okay.
And I'll explain to you what you're reading there. But we're going to get started with 7. I'm going to read 7 real quick. And Dallas, when we get ready to, we get down to verse number 3,
okay.
You can, after I read verse 3, we'll read. All right, listen where we go. And it says, remember, chapter 7, Revelation. We're going to finish our study here. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. And the wind should not blow, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on anything green, now, or any tree, I mean. Now, we know that we could do a whole 2-hour comprehensive study in that one verse.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas and I we talked about it, and then, he takes it out to our group. And you can. But we're not going to do that today. We'll have to circle back around to it, and we might even let Dallas, if he wants to do that one Sunday, or one Sabbath day.
We'll do it on Sunday in the church. We'll show them.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. And I saw another angel ascending from the east. Listen to this, guys. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Elohim. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim in their foreheads. Now, we're going to go over there to Exodus right now. Hold on, I'm sorry, not Exodus. That's chapter 5. We go into Ezekiel. Whoever's got Ezekiel 9.
That's me.
Read this. I'm sorry, I got them confused.
That's okay.
Ezekiel 9, starting with verse 2. And behold, 6 men came from the way of Higher Gate, which lies towards the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And a man among them was clothed with linen, with the rider's inkhorn by his side, and they went in and stood beside their brazen altar.
He went in, and what's number 4?
Well, that's number 2.
Okay.
You want me to skip
No,
it?
no, yeah, skip through it. It's three. I mean, it tells you it's good, but it's not. 4 gets to the point.
Okay. And Yahuwah said unto them, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of
Jerusalem? Yeah.
I'm not looking at.
Jerusalem?
Jerusalem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
Yeah, Jerusalem.
and set a
Tav.
upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that have been done in the midst thereof.
Okay, a tav is a mark.
Yes, it is. I got it right here.
Tav is a mark, guys. That's over there in Ezekiel chapter 9, verses number 2. You can read 3 if you want to, and 4. The guy standing in linen. Yahuwah tells this guy in linen to go and mark his elect. What's it say right here in number 3? Read verse number 3 again, Robin. Read that out to me. What's that say
Which
in
one?
chapter 7?
Revelation.
Revelation.
Hurt not the earth, neither the seas, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim
See?
in their foreheads.
And therefore, it's being prophesied. It has been prophesied that he's going to mark his elect. And that's not taking part in any of the abominations going on. So, when he's going through the midst, when he's going through the midst of the cities and doing this, tell me, how can you be magically
Whisked away.
whisked away when he's going to mark his people and the rest of them are going to be destroyed?
So I
Now,
guess they're gonna be whisked away and destroyed.
that's
And
okay. And so now somebody pull up Deuteronomy 6 and 8. We're going to read that right now too. And we're going to read it again. We're going to be repetitious. We're going to let you guys sink in. We're talking about a mark that's being placed by the Father, Yahuwah. That's what we're talking about. You can find that over there in Revelation. We're at Revelation verse number 3.
7:3.
Now, Revelation 7:3. And listen, we're going to, listen real close to what Taylor's about to read.
Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 8.
Verse 8.
And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You want to keep going?
Yeah, you can go
Okay.
on.
And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahuwah shall have brought you into the land which he swore 7 oaths to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, Jacob, and to Jacob, to give you great and goodly cities which you built not.
All right. Now
I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's good. Now listen to what he just, did you guys hear what she just read? Deuteronomy 6 verse 8, and you can go on further. He's talking about the commandments.
I knew it.
From the first of that chapter, you have to bind them. He's marking you guys. That's part of his seal. You've got to stay in his covenant. You've got to follow these 10 commandments. If you don't, you're gonna be destroyed. That's as simple as I can tell you. I'm telling you with love. You've got to get into the commandments. He's telling you, and listen to what he says. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Now, from from verse number 5 all the way to verse 8 is telling you each number of every tribe. Now, you'll notice that there's a tribe missing. If you read there's a tribe missing. But guess what? There's still 12 tribes. So what happened? The tribe of Dan got utterly destroyed because of a sexual crime. And if you'll find that where else? The Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to hear it in the New Testament. Now count them and see how many tribes y'all come up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
12.
7. You got 12.
Still 12. Yeah.
There's 12 tribes like the father started with. How is that? Because of Joseph, he was one of the 12. He didn't get a tribe named after him, but he had 2 sons,
Yeah.
Ephraim and Manasseh.
Right.
That's where the other 2 tribes come from now.
Yep.
Isn't that something? It's like a puzzle. Once you once you get in covenant with him and ask for these things, he says he will give you meat in due season. He says it. Now, for verses, I'm not going to read verse 5 through 8 because it's telling you how many. It's just saying 12,000 from all 12 tribes. That's what it's saying. Now we're going to have Dallas read Exodus 28. 20 through 22. Now, when you hear this, it's going to be kind of like, what? But trust me, listen to what I'm telling you. I will give the context after it's done. Yes.
So was Ephraim and Manasseh together a tribe?
No, there were two tribes.
They
They're
were
brothers.
separate.
Yes.
Okay.
They were Joseph's brothers. Joseph was one of the 12.
Right.
Yeah. So Joseph's
They
the
were
one that
his
got thrown
sons.
into a pit.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he went into captivity. Ain't it funny that Joseph was the really good one and he went into captivity? Isn't it something how when you follow the word
Wow,
of the
yeah.
Father, you get persecuted? He says you will.
Yeah.
You will get persecuted.
Paul.
Pardon?
Just like Paul.
Yeah, anybody that look, I've said this. If I said it once, if I said it 100 times, all but one disciple was executed, persecuted, murdered for the testimony of Yahusha. Are you willing to go to your death? You got to be. You don't even think about it because in that hour, the Holy Spirit is going to give you an eloquence they can't refute. It's in the Word, guys. He tells you, be faithful unto death. Some of us are going to have to die. Some of us are going into captivity. Some of us are going into the second Exodus. And some are going to the throne room of the King and come back. That's where I want to be. If you're his elect, you will come back. You will get called to the throne room and come back. That's your rapture that the church tells you about that they don't know nothing about. That's the problem. I urge people, look, I don't tell nobody to don't go to church. I'm just telling you, don't go to a Sunday church. Don't go to a Saturday church like the Jehovah's Witness or look, there's 50,000 denominations for a reason. And I'm not trying to diss anybody. I'm trying to tell you, there's only one church, and it's in Philippians chapter 2, verse number 2. There's only one church. You need to get into the covenant.
Well, didn't Yahusha diss them? He was telling them. And,
Yes.
and Isaiah and
Yes.
Ezekiel.
All of them,
and
they're
Hosea
warning us.
and- right.
They're all warning us. But the church teaches that it's done away with. It's not.
But see, the problem is people don't, they pick up the word, and if they're gonna read it, they only read on surface level. They
That's
not,
right.
you have to actually study
You do.
what is
You
going on.
have to be in
That's why
covenant.
he says study to show thyself
Thyself
approved,
approved.
not read on the surface
Exactly.
to show thyself approved.
Now tell me this. Go ahead, Dallas.
Most of them don't even read. They are read to.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, they let Pastor Charlie Bob down at the First Church of the Frozen Chosen
Hello.
on Sunday tell them what they need them to think, and so we can't do that. But go ahead, Dallas.
People give up so quick. You know, they get so frustrated because they try to read it, you know, and they quit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just,
They need guidance.
it's horrible. Yeah.
They need a little guidance.
You know what?
You have to
do you know
force
how?
yourself.
Do you know how I really started to really uncover the word? It's because something that Scott told me to do. He said, if you don't understand a word, even if it's something that you know, look it up and see what it means.
Yeah.
And it changes. It started changing the way that I was reading. I was like,
Then you insert it into the
wow.
place
Yeah,
of
you know, like,
the word you didn't know, and it
Like
makes
crazy.
it makes perfect. But let me tell you how the Father is going to give you meat in due season, and this is for that. Don't be dismayed, guys. If you're having problems reading, look up every word. If it takes you a week to get through one chapter, that's okay.
One verse.
Look up what you don't know the meanings to these words. Even if it's a Hebrew word, look it up. If it's an English word that you already know but don't know, but you don't, look it up.
I'll look up
And
everything
then
in
insert it
Hebrew, and
into the
then
place of
you
that
get
word,
something else.
into that verse, and you'll see how this. I'm telling you, it's critical
Because a lot of
thinking.
it was Greek.
You can't just gloss over the word. You got to get into it. You got to break it down. People say you don't have to break down the word. I'm telling you, if you want to know it, you better break it down. That's part of studying. Just reading something ain't studying. I'm talking about take notes, make marks, highlight, whatever you got to do. He'll give you the meat in
Look,
due
I know
season.
mine's probably a
He'll
mess,
get you
but
off of the
boy, there's a
milk.
lot of-
That's what we got to be off of is the milk. Get into the meat. Remember, when you was a children, your mother gave you milk, but guess what she started doing?
She took
She
you off
started
of that.
introducing you to solid foods, and then boom, and now you're a full-fledged eater. Well, that's what you got to do with the
Yeah,
work.
that's why I got all these.
With the word. You got to start off on the milk. Pray. But the most important thing is to get into covenant. Get into the covenant of promise. Keep those commandments. Stop working on Saturday. Stop eating bad foods. Stop doing it. It's that hard. Now, some of us have to work, and I understand that. But guess what? Yahuwah, who is faithful and true,
Just.
he will take care of you if you are serious in your heart. He will make a way.
Oh
He
my
says he
gosh.
will make a
No
way.
clue.
Look, we're not even to buy or sell on the Sabbath. Now, sometimes that's called the key of David comes in there. It's like a loophole where you can. But we'll get into that later. Look, just get into covenant first, guys, and keep praying. As long as you're in covenant, you're following his commandments, he's going to give you that meat. It's going to come like matter of fact, it's going to be like a wire transfer. It's going to be like a download quick on your computer. He's going to download it to you faster than you believe. I promise you he will. He's done it to everybody sitting at this table. Some of us are a little further along, some of us aren't. But guess what? We all family, and we help each other. We sharpen iron with iron. That's what the word says to do, and that's what we're going to do. Now, we're going to keep on. I'm going to start at verse now. Dallas, you got to read. Go ahead.
What is this in reference
It's
to?
Exodus to the 12 tribes. Listen, I'm going to explain
Okay.
this to you.
All right.
It's Exodus 20.
28, 20 through 22.
Yeah. Just really mark 21, guys. I just want him to read above and below. I always tell people to read above and below.
Exodus
It's
8.
yeah.
Exodus 28.
28 verse 21 is the meat.
Yep.
But I like to
22.
give a little extra meat.
All right, so starting off in verse 20.
Yeah.
And the fourth row of beryl and an onyx and a jasper, they shall be set in gold filigree. The stones shall be 12, according to the names of the sons of Israel.
To who?
The sons of Israel.
How many?
12.
12. Let's go.
They shall be like the engravings of a signet, each with its name for the 12 tribes.
With the 12 tribes. How about
Oh.
that? Remember, verses 5 through 8, we're talking about the 12
Tell us
tribes.
that chapter again. Exodus.
Exodus 28.
28.
And guess what
28.
20 through 22.
This is the idiom. This is the allegory that the Father is giving to us with with those verses right there, mainly 21 and Exodus 28, verse 21. He's making the priests uniforms, the priestly garments. And remember, we're going to get a garment, and you're going to have a new name. You're going to get a name. You're going to get a white stone, and he's talking about stones. They all have place, and for the names of Israel. See, that's the allegory that he's comparing. And you don't think John didn't get that from the Father all the way from Exodus? Because that's what the priests were. Guess who the priests were? They were the Leviticus priesthood. Guess what they were? They was his chosen. Guess what's going to happen here? I got the Ruach HaKodesh.
What's on the priests?
Woo!
Because we're going to be the chosen.
Man, the elect is that right there. You're going to be the 12,000 is
We-
coming from
We talked
every.
about that in last chapter.
Yes, and see, let me ask you this: have you
Praise.
ever heard a Sunday preacher tell you this from a Sun God Day church service?
Never.
Have you ever heard that? The 12, they can't explain this to the church because they don't know it. They don't know. It's sad. There's going to be an elect that's going to be called up to the throne room, and Exodus is telling you how he's going to do it.
Robin's wheels are turning, and mine are too. Are we?
Well, if you got a question, by all means, ask it.
Well, I do, and Robin probably does. But are we going to be like sorted into different tribes?
We're all going to be in the tribe.
We'll
But we
be
don't
one
know which
tribe
one.
together.
Yeah, but you're going to be together. You're just going to be out of this one, like
You
Dan.
might be from
Dan's
Dan
not
and
there.
I might be
Dan,
from-
There ain't going to be nobody from Dan.
Well,
I mean, not Dan, Ephraim,
Yeah,
or, you know,
and we
you
could
might
be-
be from
yeah,
Manasseh or.
Like all
but
the
we'll all
different
be
nations.
together.
Look,
But we will be sorted.
yes.
into different
And we'll be the
tribes.
kings and priests.
well, the elect
Yes.
are. The elect
That
is
means-
the one that's coming back. And
Right,
they're
the
gonna-
ones that
they're
are
gonna
going to
give
the
it-
throne room.
That's right, and they're given
Which
power
could possibly
to
be us.
judge when they come back.
We can only
So,
Hope.
yes.
Yeah.
I feel that we're some of us are supposed to be here for tribulation as well. You know, to-
Absolutely.
We're all going to, everybody's going to be here,
And I think
except for the catching up.
You know, me and
That's
Scott,
the rapture.
me and Scott were talking about this morning. We were talking about, he was talking about Psalms 91 where he says that he'll keep you under his wing in the shadow of, you know. But you think about this. When we accept him, the truth, Yahuwah, Yahusha, when you accept the truth, you're in a pavilion. You're in his pavilion, and he is going to take care of you no matter what.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. If we have to see death, if you're in him, he's still going to take care of you.
Even unto death, he says.
Yes.
Now, if you're
That's
called,
amazing.
look, he's going to hold people. People, I get asked this all the time. Well, what about everybody that's already dead, man? You don't know nothing. I'm like, dude, let me tell you, they're going to be held in ignorance.
Some of them are going to
Because they haven't had a chance to learn what you're learning now. The Father's got a judgment plan. He tells you in His Word they're going to be held and judged differently. They're going to. I believe that anybody that died in that fake name Jesus, they're going to be okay. They're going to, because they don't know, because
The truth was not revealed.
the
to them.
truth was not revealed. That's it. It's the faith. But I'm going to tell you this: if it's been revealed to you now,
If you don't
and
seek
you
it
mock
out,
and scoff
because you've
people,
always had
you're
this.
not gonna like what happens. I promise
Yeah.
you. That's why we're telling you, get in His covenant,
saying that.
call Him by His name. I don't care if you want to call Him Yahusha or Yahshua or Yahweh. That's not the right one, but guess what? It's not the one that comes in His own name.
It makes
That's
you
still
happy.
Joshua. He says that I come in my Father's name. It is connected. Yahusha is connected directly to Yahuwah.
His name literally means Yahuwah is salvation.
Yahuwah is salvation. That's exactly what it means. So He comes in His name. That's like I've just said this before. That's like if I send my son to go do something in my name, or I send my cousin to go down here and do it in my name. Well, they got full authority. That's what Messiah has when He came. He came down here, full authority. He's the Word, the Father's Word. Remember, the Word said, "Let there be light." That means God, Yahuwah, was speaking with His words and said, "Let there be light." Well, who's the light? The Word is. Who's the Word? Wrapped in flesh,
For the same reason.
Messiah. That's Him, Yahusha. It means salvation. Now, tell me this. Riddle me this. How do you get salvation out of Jesus to Yahuwah?
You don't.
Tell them what Jesus means.
You don't.
It
Now,
means earth.
I want you guys to look up what the Romans gave Him this name. And that's why we call Him what we call Him. We call Him Yahuwah and Yahusha. Look, the Dead Sea Scrolls were found many, many, many years ago. But guess what? In that, His name, Yahuwah, is over 7,000 times the name. And it's written in Paleo Hebrew. People say, well, we don't do Paleo Hebrew, and you're not going to. Well, guess what?
Well, guess what? He
Don't speak
did.
it.
Look, that was the whole language. That was the whole world spoke one language until the Tower of Babel.
Yep.
So if His
That's
name,
where the
look,
mystery
it
started.
stands to reason. If His name is Yahuwah back then, that it would be Yahuwah right now.
Well, doesn't
remember.
the word say that He never changes?
He never changes. So the Romans gave Him that name. Messiah says, I come in the name of my Father, which you receive me not, but you will receive the one that comes in His own name. The world is taking Jesus Christ, the Christmas Day Jesus guy, the Easter Jesus guy, and all the other stuff, the trees and the decorations and the pork and the ham. That's who the world has chosen. That sounds crazy. It sounds hard, but it's the truth. Now, I'll let y'all digest that for a little while, but we got sidetracked a little bit. But I'm really passionate about people coming into covenant and getting in those commandments. And people say, man, you don't have any tact. You're just like a bulldozer. You're like a bull in a china shop. Well, if that's what gets you in covenant, then that's what I'll do. Now, the days of coddling and talking sweet and compassion, those are over. We're in the last times. It's imperative. Jude is one page. It's one chapter, one page. He says there's two ways to preach. Well, guess what? The compassion and preaching, it's been done for hundreds of years. It's time for the brimstone and the fire. He says if we can't save you with that, we get you, we preach you out of the fire.
Just like Noah, he preached
Yep.
for.
He preached for 120 years.
But when it started to rain,
Yeah, they want it in. See, that's what's going to happen again. That's why in Matthew, Messiah says it's going to be just like in the days of Noah.
Noah.
But Lot took it even further. Lot,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Luke took
Yeah.
it further. It's going to be as in the days of Noah and the days of Lot.
Sexual sin.
They're going to want to get, they want to come in, they're going to want to get out and, oh, save me. I knew you. He's going to say, I never knew you. They're going to say, Jesus, I knew. He's going to say, I didn't know you.
People won't be looking
Lord,
around
we
like,
cast
"What are
this
they
out in
talking
your
about?"
name.
Yeah.
Now, how do you know that you know him? I did a video on this. Dallas, where's that at? Is it over there in First John
Yeah.
chapter 2,
Yes.
And
verses?
John.
Yes, and in John.
Yeah.
The way you know that you know him, how is it?
if you keep his commandments.
Amen.
And our name of
If
the
you
group is?
keep his commandments.
Commandment
And guess
Keepers.
what?
Right.
He really focused on number 4. That 4th commandment is what he said, this is a sign for all your generations. And what's the 4th commandment, guys?
Remember
Now, I'm asking these guys on TikTok here.
TikTok.
What is the 4th commandment? Somebody write it in the comments. Somebody write it in the comments down there. What's the 4th commandment? That's the one he focuses on. But you know what? He magnified 2 other ones that he wants you to definitely keep. But he threw in that 4th one. You better keep this one.
You keep that first one, they're gonna fall in line.
That's right. You keep the first one. No gods before you. Idol.
That's why that's the royal law.
That's the royal law. And to love everybody the same as you love yourself.
Because
Have you ever
all
found
the
that hard?
commandments should fall right underneath.
Right.
those
I mean, just perfect.
Yeah.
The 4th commandment, guys, is to keep the Sabbath. Remember and to keep. He told you to remember
It's
that
the
one.
only commandment
With
where
a
he says remember.
yes, that is the only commandment. Remember my Sabbath
And then the
and
next
keep it
one is
holy
the promise.
and teach your children. All right, let's go on over here to number 9, chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Man, what does that mean, guys?
Victory.
There's victory in Yahushua.
That's right.
What does that mean, though? He said, what's the number that he said? What did he say? What was the number?
No man could number.
No man could number. So imagine all the people that has lived here on this earth, and all the angels. See, a third of the angels were kicked out of heaven, but we don't know how many angels he had. So how can you figure out what the third of it is? It's a number that you can't imagine. It's mind-boggling. So there's going to be and he said, and he did say all nations. So that means peoples. Here, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be standing in the front. That's the good news if you're in this covenant. If you're in his covenant, you don't have much to worry about. You really don't. I mean, other than don't let nobody take your crown when the tribulation comes. Right. And I believe it's right around the corner, guys. They're setting it up now, whether you think they are or not. It's happening. Just stick to the Father and Yahusha, and you're going to be okay. Don't let nobody take your crown. And he said, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our Elohim. Salvation. Who is salvation? Yahusha. But who?
Salvation.
That's right. Yeah. Yahusha is salvation. But guess what? If you'll read Isaiah 43, verse 11, he tells you there's Yahuwah is the Savior.
Right.
So how is that? And how is it possible that 56 other times? What? Go ahead.
Well, he's the one that sent his son down.
He's the word. Exactly. It come out of his mouth. Boom. Your flesh. My
Right,
word.
that was
His
his word.
mouth. His words became flesh. That's what it is. That's hard to wrap your head around, but that's what it
He
is.
created his son.
But the church won't tell you this because they don't know.
And one thing I've been telling people a lot when I talk about this is important not to elevate the son above the father.
That's
Amen.
right.
You know, and
Amen. You cannot, and that's what the church world does.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Jesus,
the Messiah
Jesus,
said not
yeah.
to.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
easy to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That Holy
You
Trinity.
know, like if you don't know.
Yes. The Trinity,
Well,
forget
that's
about
because
it. That's a
we were
Roman
we were
idea. The
indoctrinated.
Trinity
Jesus is everything.
makes
Yeah.
all three equal. And he says, I will share my glory with no one.
People pray to Jesus.
Yes, people pray to Jesus. Yeah, amen.
Pray to Yahuwah
They
through
do.
Yahusha. I mean,
They do. You're to pray to the Father
that's right.
and
In his
in
name.
his Son's
In his
name.
Right.
That's what you do.
Because that's the authority, and that's the
That's the
that's
authority.
the way to the Father.
That's
is
how,
through the
that's
Son.
right.
That's right.
Well, in the church, you were always taught that Jesus was to intercede for you.
Yeah, but see, he is an intercessor.
You understand?
Boy.
Yeah, oh yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they taught.
They
Yeah,
but
that's
like
what
you
they
got to
taught.
pray to him so it'll get to him. No,
Kind of like the Catholics.
Look.
The Catholics
Mary.
say that you're to pray to Mary
Yes.
because she's supposed to intercede.
let me ask you this: critically
Yes.
thinking,
Well, it's
critically
what
thinking.
are they reading?
Let me ask you this: when Messiah Yahusha died on the cross, guys, think about this. When he died, what was rent in the temple?
The veil,
The veil between what?
the spiritual world,
And the Holy of
and-
Holies.
Yep.
So when that was rent in half, his precious blood was atonement. There's no more cow killing to go in there and sprinkle the blood.
Right.
It stopped. He became that cow blood. He was the perfect gift. He walked in. He sprinkled his blood
On the mercy seat.
on the mercy seat. Now that gave you, me, him, everybody, the world access to the Father. So pray to the Father in the Son's name.
He was sacrificed for
He
the
was
sin.
sacrificed for the sin. When he was on that stake, sin, sacrificial law was nailed
With-
to that with him. It ended the sacrifice.
And that's all that it
That's
ended.
all that it ended, guys.
Not a
That's
new
hard.
covenant, not
None of that happened. He became the payment for our
was the
sin, our
sacrifice.
transgressions. That's why he says, "My burden is not heavy, my yoke is not hard."
You're not reading that.
He makes it so simple. You're out of prison. It's like you've made an escape out of prison once you come into the covenant and keep these commandments, because you got all these self-righteous people that go to church telling you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't wear that dress, you can't wear those glasses, Scott, you can't do
bullcrap
this.
is what it is.
It's bull crap.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's
Unless they
man-made
get themselves-
doctrine. You follow those.
In
You
the
follow those 10
covenant.
commandments. You won't go wrong.
Woe
And
to
you
the
keep.
pastors. Though.
Yes, woe to the
Yeah, and
pastors
scatter my flock.
that scatter my flock.
The other day.
Jeremiah 23.
It's gonna be a nasty day.
Right out the gate.
My sister-
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now
I'm not
we're going to go and all, verse number 11. And all the angels stood around about the throne and about the elders and the four living creatures that fell before the throne. Man, where did we hear about the living creatures out around the throne? Was it in Ezekiel?
Yeah,
Chapters
Ezekiel.
1 and 2, maybe? It's guys, I love you guys. I love y'all. I love you. That's why I'm telling you these things. Please take heed and listen. All this is in the Old Testament. Everything here. Everything. Every chapter in Revelation. It is not for the Son God Day going church. This is for his elect and his elect only. If you ain't his elect, well, you're just going to read this and say, well, what about that? How come this is that? It's because the church has told you that. But if look, don't just listen to me. Find other people like me that are similar to me, and all my brothers and sisters sitting at this table.
When you
They
sit
can
down
teach you
to read
this.
this, you've got to wipe the slate
Yes,
clean.
you've got to go in as you're an infant on milk and pray, and he will give you this in due time. That meat that I'm telling you about, that your mama weaned you from the milk to soft foods and to solids. That's what he does. That's what he means by this. And I didn't make that up either. That's in the word. He'll give you meat in due season. Okay, now we're going to go down here to 12, saying, I mean, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be to our Elohim forever and ever. I mean. And one of the elders answered, saying to me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? That's the elder asking John this. Then he says, and I said to him, Sir, you know. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Now, why would you have to go through tribulation? Why would anybody, why are people going to tribulation?
Because
they're
of
not in
Yahuwah's
covenant.
wrath, because the world is a cesspool.
They're not in covenant.
Right, they're not in covenant.
And you're absolutely right. The world is a cesspool. They're going through. If you're not in His covenant, keeping His commandments, I'm telling you, you're going. It just says it right here. And it don't just say it here, but Isaiah tells you this. Ezekiel tells you the same thing. Jeremiah really, especially Isaiah and Jeremiah. Daniel tell you this. It is coming. Joel, read Hosea. Those are some really, that's all for end times. Hosea and Joel. Read them. Zephaniah and Zechariah. Read them. All that stuff comes right that you read in Revelation. It comes from those old books. So you tell me.
So Yahuwah is giving John what has already been prophesied by
we just read it.
these,
And
right?
they have victory
All of
over the
this.
tribe.
That's where
Yep.
Yahusha's teaching from. But you cannot make them understand that.
Yeah,
It's
Yahusha's
just-
not
it's-
teaching
it's
the New
just like-
Testament.
It's
The
They
New
have to pray
Testament
for
is
it.
the Old
Right.
Testament.
They have to be wooed.
That's
They
right.
have to be drawn
You have
by
to
the
be
Spirit.
drawn by the Holy
And
Spirit.
it's okay
the Ruach
to
HaKodesh.
pray for that too. If you don't,
Yes.
if you don't even want it, and Yahuwah knows your heart.
I pray for
So you might as well be
all my
honest with him,
brothers.
You know.
But you know, it's up to us to plant those seeds for the and then let the ruach go on and water that and
You know, I was telling Taylor last night. I think the greatest gift Yahuwah can ever give is to. I'm a firm believer that He gives us gifts on this earth, in the flesh, in the
Yes.
physical. But the greatest gift I think He could ever give is to change your heart.
Oh
Because
yes,
that
I
will
believe
lead
it.
you and others to salvation.
Yes.
And,
That's what He wants, and He
Yeah.
taught that. The righteousness of God, of Yahuwah, it's the 10 Commandments. I mean, it's nothing more than the commandments. Your righteousness. He says to walk thou before me and be holy, or to be perfect. How are you make yourself perfect?
follow the 10
People say
commandments.
you can't be perfect, but you can follow the commandments.
And before I came to this group, I was telling God, I was like, I don't even want to go. I don't want to do it. You know me. I was like, but I want to know. I want to be with you at the end.
Yes,
So,
yes. And
You know the
if
truth.
and that's why, like, when I'm younger, and everybody that goes to church on Sunday, you believe in Jesus.
yeah,
Okay, so you believe in hell.
yeah,
Okay, if you hear people trying to tell you the truth, you might as well get into it because you're going to die one day.
that's right.
Everyone is.
Everybody. And can you imagine? I had a hard time, and this is for anybody listening. I had a hard time with the name change with Jesus because
Wow.
I mean
I
it
think
really.
we all did.
Yes, I know, but and Dallas will tell you, I've talked with him in at length about that. That was hard for me, guys, because I believed everything else, the commandments, but I didn't think you have to change the name.
Right.
His name does not mean salvation. It's a Latin name. It means earth pig. It's
And then when
exactly
you
what
research
it
it and you
means.
look it up,
Yes.
it will tell you.
That's what it means. It means earth pig, guys. You look up JE, then SUS.
And I'm
look up-
telling you, when I pray in Jesus' name versus Yahusha, I'm telling you.
There's
And
a
I was
difference.
kicking stuff out of my head the other night in Yahusha's name, and
Yes.
then my body twitched, man, when it
Yes.
came out. Telling you.
There is power in that name, and I know
Telling you.
firsthand. You're absolutely right, Dallas. There is power in the name of Yahusha.
And
I've
Yahuwah.
expelled 2 demons. Matter of fact, I made them come front and center,
Yep.
and looked them and talked to them eye to eye,
Yep.
and wasn't afraid because there's power in Yahusha's name. Jesus, when I'd have dreams, I couldn't say the word Jesus. It's like the demon had my tongue because he knew. Yeah. But anyways, I seen you had when we read verse 15. I seen a light come on you. It's like you had a question or you wanted to say something. Yeah, 15.
When I was in church, and they would say,
When I read, or it might have been 14. Yeah, made right in the blood. Yeah. And I came great tribulation and have washed
it says
their
great tribulation.
great tribulation. That means the last one.
Right.
And that's going to be the one.
That's
Now,
what I was thinking about when.
to me, whoever goes through there's going to be people that aren't in covenant that's going through the great tribulation, and they're going to come out of it.
But I also think there's going to be people
There's going to be people that's
that
kind
do
of
go into tribulation. Like, say, for example, if we go into
To lead.
tribulation, we're
Yep.
going to be the leaders,
Yep, to
getting
tell 'em.
people back in the covenant. But there's also going to be those ones that are going to tell on us, and we'll get
That's
persecuted
right.
for it.
And there's going to be the
So-
remember the second Exodus? It's over there in Matthew. He tells you there's going to be a second sheepfold. They're going to go off into the wilderness.
Yes.
So they're
And
going,
that's
those are the
their
ones that are held in ignorance. They
tribulation.
believe, but they don't know the truth because they didn't hear it. But he says it's going to be preached in all the world. Now, why would he going to give a second sheepfold? I don't know. It's what he says. It's a second Exodus. It don't use the term second Exodus, but it's a second sheepfold that's going. The first sheepfold is the win, and that would be his elect
Right.
that is going to the throne. Remember, they're coming back as kings and priests, and they're going to rule.
Yes.
They're going to have power to do this stuff. And that's over there in Ezekiel. That's in Jeremiah. It's just get in there and read it, and you'll see. Look, don't just take my word for it. I say this all the time, but let's finish up here, guys. Now, this is where have everybody done read? Y'all ain't done read yet, have you? All right, it says, therefore, are they before the throne of Elohim and serve him day and night in his temple? And he that sits on the throne shall dwell among them. Yahweh is going to dwell among them. He's coming down too. See, everybody thinks Jesus was coming back. No, Yahushua's coming back, but so is the Father. The Father's coming.
Yeah, because there's going to be a new throne
Exactly.
in New Jerusalem.
In the New Jerusalem. The Father is
Yes.
coming down,
He's
and
gonna
he's
dwell with
sending
us.
out the one in white linen. We read it over there in Ezekiel. He's the one going through and taking care of business with his elect, with the elect. It's simple once you start putting it together. Now listen, he says, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst anymore, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb, go ahead, read Isaiah 49:10, whoever's got it. I'm going to read 16 again. They shall hunger no more,
Yeah, but he said you were
neither
supposed to do, but I got
thirst
him.
anymore, neither shall the sun light on them,
You said 40.
nor any heat.
10.
Isaiah 49:10.
Hold
Let's
on.
listen to what Isaiah says.
It's Psalms as well.
Hold on, I'm getting to it.
Should have already been marked.
I don't. She was supposed to get it. I've got another one,
Cracking the whip.
but she thought you meant
thought
she
that-
thought you meant only that one verse.
Yes.
That's where it goes
You-
for, 16.
Okay, right here.
Yeah, read Isaiah 10. What's that say? Let me read 16 again just so you can hear. That they can hear. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst anymore, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat.
Okay, this is Isaiah
Isaiah.
49:10.
Isaiah 49:10.
They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he that has mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water shall he guide them.
Wow! Golly, guys.
See, I already got it marked.
See there? And you go to church on Sunday, they'll tell you that the Old Testament don't count no more. It's already done. What?
It's all foolery.
That's old covenant.
Man,
We under the new
come
one now.
on.
Well,
There
when
is
was-
no
when
new
was the
covenant.
millennial reign? Because I missed it.
Yeah,
If we the new covenant.
where's the millennial reign? Has it happened? No. Remember,
Oh,
millennial
wow.
reign, the new covenant, Jeremiah 30 and 31, both chapters. Talk about the two trees, the two houses coming back together. Now listen to 17. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne. What did Ezekiel say? He's going to walk through the midst of Jerusalem, and what's he going to be doing at that time? He's going to be marking his people,
Yes.
his elect, who's got the covenant, the commandments on their frontlets and on their hand. See, the devil tries to do the same thing. Remember, forehead and hand.
And that's
The
a
devil, he
metaphor.
tries to imitate. What's that?
That's a metaphor.
That's a metaphor. Now listen to this again. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them to living fountains of water. Isaiah got all that in that pow. In verse 10, and Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Somebody read Deuteronomy 7 and 6.
I got it, and I got
And
the,
Isaiah 25:8.
I got both of them.
How'd you get 3 verses?
I got two. I took Taylor's last one because you was telling
You
me
wanna,
off
you wanna
about
read
it.
25:8?
No, I done got it. She can sit there and.
I'll listen.
And
Okay,
relax.
Deuteronomy 7:6 is, for you are a holy people to Yahuwah Eloheka. Is that how you say it?
Eloheka, yeah.
Yeah. Yahuwah how you say it again? Heka has chosen you to be the special people to himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's his people, his chosen ones.
What was that? Deuteronomy what now?
7:6.
7, 6, his chosen people, they're set apart.
And then 20.
His elect, guys, he's telling us his elect. That's right there in verse 17. Now read, and you can put you can also do Deuteronomy 6 and 8. We did it over there. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mark. You can go with 17 right there with both Deuteronomy 6, 8, and 7, 6.
And then 25.
Now read Isaiah 25 and 8.
He will swallow up death in victory, and Adonai Yahuwah will wipe away tears from all faces, and the rebuke of the people shall he take away from off all the earth, for Yahuwah has spoken it.
Wow, let's read 17 again. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them to living fountains of water. That's alive, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Alive. And he's going to wipe away all your tears.
And it says it
Did
right there.
Isaiah, right there in Isaiah,
25:8.
right here in Revelation, imagine that. Imagine what the Father is trying to tell us. We need to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get out of this Sunday. Everything that the world has taught us is a lie.
They can't wake up unless they hear it, though.
You got to hear it. You got to be drawn by the Spirit, guys. I
Yeah,
love
that's the key.
everybody that has stayed here for this
But it's our
long.
duty to tell.
I love you guys fiercely in Yahusha. I do. You guys are a blessing to me. I love being able to sit here and with my brothers and sisters here and my brothers and sisters there. I love each and every one of y'all guys here and there. I love being able to sharpen iron with you guys. I wish you guys could talk back to me that are
They
listening.
can talk.
But I appreciate you guys, and remember, anything that I say on here, it's not a hidden dig. I'm not trying to discourage or cause. I'm just teaching you what the truth is. Some of it's hard to accept. I know. It was for me, and I don't doubt that any of you guys question some stuff sometimes, which is perfectly fine. That's what the Father wants you to do. Question everything. Don't take somebody's word for it. But when I tell you stuff, I'm telling you because it's here in the Word. You got to pray for the wisdom, and He'll give it to you. You got to do it, and spend more time. If you spend 10 minutes a day with Him, read for 10 minutes. If that's all you can do, I guarantee you by the end of the month, you'll be reading for 20 and 30 minutes and probably 2 or 3 chapters. You will, and you'll be getting so much meat because you have a new way of thinking.
You find yourself talking about it now.
Yes,
To people.
and you're talking, and yes, and you'll start talking to people about trying to tell them, and they're going to tell you you're crazy that you can't have Christmas, you can't eat pork, shrimp, fish, pork fried rice, shrimps and grits, shrimps and scallops. You can't eat none of that. You just
What's the verse everybody likes to argue about pork?
It's the ones over there in Acts.
Where is it where
But I can take you to another
It's
verse.
Acts.
Spiritual.
yeah.
And
It's
Mark.
Acts chapter 4, I believe it is in Acts chapter 4.
But I
I
think-
think.
Is it where the thing
Might
comes
be 10.
down?
Yes.
Yeah, the
when
scroll
they
comes
have-
Yeah,
down.
the scroll comes down. He
It's
says
there.
eat it.
But
it's
anyways,
bitter.
guys,
Yeah.
we love you. We pray that you guys will have a blessed day. We didn't get this 8 today, but we're gonna get there next week. I love you guys fiercely. I love you like a fat kid love chocolate cake. I love you
Chocolate cake.
fiercely in Yahusha, guys. Y'all have a blessed day.
The reason I bring that up is because what I said in the group is, even if that was true, right? If it wasn't